We live in a twilight world and there are no friends at dusk. Without a doubt, the biggest question I'm asked, and the most frequent question I'm asked, is will I return to Ukraine? And the truth is, I don't know. I'm still undecided. I definitely would like to go for the adventure aspect, but my gut feeling tells me that getting over there and actually, getting to anywhere worthwhile and being able to film is just going to be a nightmare, and it's just not going to happen. You've got to remember the first two times I kind of went under the cover of the chaos that was going on. And, there was so many people coming and going, and there was a lot of confusion amongst all the organisations, such as the Border Patrol and the police and stuff, that it kind of allowed me to sneak in a bit better. Now, things have settled down. There's not as many people leaving. There's not as many people coming back. The border guard, the police, the military, they've probably got a lot more understanding now of what they're looking for. And, of course, they are all in the role of Agent Smith. And they are definitely going to be looking for foreigners who are there, being journalists and investigating without permission. That's probably the number one thing they're going to be looking for. Although they probably are not aware of why they're looking for that, that's what they'll be looking for. Because, let's be honest, once the Agent Smith effect takes hold of them, they don't really know what they're doing. They're just following orders. And, being a foreigner over there without a real legitimate reason is, it's gonna, you're gonna stick out. They're gonna want to look at you. They're gonna want to investigate you and want to know what the hell you're doing there. But anyway, let's take a look at the difficulties of getting in and the problems we'll face. We'll switch over to a map. So we're just waiting for the map to load up here. It's taken a long time, man. Honestly, this past year, the signal has been awful. Signal that worked perfectly well the previous 2 years. I don't know whether it's a deliberate ploy to try and get people to go onto 5G or what. But anyway, so getting into Ukraine. Of course, we can still fly to Poland. Katowice or Krakow is still, easy enough for me to get to. Now, you would then have to get the train across the border here in Ukraine. And obviously you could probably, you could do it through Slovakia, and you could do it through Romania. You can't do it through Belarus. Belarus is off limits right at the moment. There's a lot of stuff going on in Belarus that we don't really know about. But yeah. So once you cross over the border, you will stop in what they call a border town over on the Ukraine side, and you'll be held there for about 2 hours. You and everyone on the train, while the services go through your details. So first there'll be like military guys, or I don't know, there might be Air Force guys, I don't know, some kind of military guys. They run through the train with sniffer dogs and they're just looking. Next you have like an army guy and like plainclothes police, and these are going through everyone's passports. Obviously once they get to me and they see a UK passport, they'll start talking to me in Russian, in Ukrainian, and of course I'll say I don't speak Ukrainian. They'll get a translator over. They'll give a little hand signal, and there'll probably be a second plainclothes police guy come over. Now I'm assuming they're plainclothes police. They could be intelligence services. I don't know. But then they start asking you questions. Why are you going to Odessa? Why are you going to Kiev? What's your purpose? And then it'll be, well, do you know anyone there? Okay, so like when the first time I went there, I was with a big group of people because, I was waiting in the queue for like 7 hours, and obviously I made friends with Ukrainians. There was an American guy, there was a Polish guy, there was a few Ukrainian lads obviously going back to, back home to their country to help out in the war effort. There was an American guy that had just been kicked out of Russia, and he had friends in Ukraine, so he wanted to go over there, and he was actually a journalist, an actual mainstream journalist. And then there was a Polish guy who actually wanted to volunteer. And anyway, being with that group helped because, we were all sat together on the carriage, and it was quite weird, because, when I got asked, like, why am I going into, Ukraine? This was back in March, yeah, when the Battle of Kiev was going on. My obvious, thing I would say is I'm going to go and help. I'm going to go and volunteer. Funnily enough, and I had no intentions of actually ever picking up a gun and volunteering. I couldn't think of anything worse. I think you probably failed a soul test if you participate in a war. But anyway, that's what I told him. But weirdly enough, the Polish guy who actually genuinely wanted to go and volunteer militarily, he didn't tell him that. He said, I'm just there as a tourist. And, because he had this idea in his head, he had to be careful about who he was telling. Either way, I remember the young lad, the border patrol guy, he had a shotgun around his it was over his chest, strapped around him. And he went pretty much to the front of the carriage and turned around. And he said, thank you all. Thank you all for your service. Me and my country really appreciate it. Oh, man, I felt fucking bad, Either way. Anyway, the second time I went there, I just said I was going to go visit some friends in Odessa. And I said, well, have you got any proof that you have friends in Odessa? And I just gave him a couple of Ukrainian phone numbers I had on my phone. So that's, how I slipped through that time. Thank God I had some Ukrainian phone numbers that I could give to them. Me going back a third time, I don't know. I must be coming up on the radar somewhere now, There's this British guy that just keeps going in and out of Ukraine with no real legitimate reason. Because here's the other thing, okay? Once you deal with the plainclothes police, then the next lot of people come through and they take your passport and they go off with it for 2 hours. And you're stuck in this border place with your passport is gone for 2 hours. They obviously take it into some kind of building. They run your name through Interpol, I'm guessing. They put it through all kinds of scanners. It's not as easy as people think. They are definitely checking out who is coming in. And like I said, this will be now the third time in the space of 1 year during the war that I've gone in. So surely my passport is going to flag up. And, I might not be so lucky this time. This might be the time I get pulled in. And I don't know if the Les Luthor account on Twitter is being monitored or tracked, but it wouldn't be hard for them to put two and two together. Anyway, having said that, let's say you manage to get past the border patrol. You then have to enter either Lviv. You have to go to your next place where you'll swap trains, or Kiev. And there you're going to get also, you're going to come off the train. There's going to be, SWAT team guys standing around. And this is not me guessing. I know this for a fact. I've done it. The same type of people that are at the border will also be at the main train stations. Plainclothes police, army, SWAT team. I don't know whether they're who they are, whether they're army or police. I don't know. And they will be picking people out, people that look suspicious. Yet again, I'm an FAM, a fighting aged male, and I'm non-Ukrainian. I am literally the type of person they're there to look for. Suspicious men going into the country. Anyway, having said that, let's say I get past that. Let's say I get through Kiev. I'm gonna, the two places at the moment where they claim fighting is going on is Kharkiv, which is where is it? Kharkiv. Anyway, Kharkiv up in the north somewhere. And Kherson, which is about here somewhere, okay? These are the two main places they are claiming that the fighting is taking place at the moment, at the time of this recording. So, firstly, let's say I get to Kherson, the region of Kherson. All around that area where they claim there's going to be a fight, there will be army guys, checkpoints. So firstly, I'd have to get a cab. And I'd have to, convince the cab driver that I'm just a regular guy heading there and getting him to drive me there. Is he going to want to do that? I don't know. Yet again, from my previous experience of going into, trying to get to a place called Irpin, the cab drivers just didn't want to do it. They did not want to go through the police checkpoints. It was just a straight up no. So is a cab driver going to take me there? Anyway, then you're going to get to a checkpoint. The army guys are not going to let you go through. That's the whole point. They're going to be like, no, this is a war zone. Sorry, it's sealed off. Go back. You can't go. And anyway, let's say by some miracle, I took some back routes, or I bribed a guy, bribed an army guy, he let me in. I'll get there, I'll film, I'll show you there's nothing going on. All the naysayers and haters will just say, oh, of course there's nothing going on in Kherson. It's all going on in Kharkiv. That's where the real war is, and vice versa. If I went to Kharkiv, got somehow by the grace of the gods, got to somewhere worth filming, all the naysayers would say, no, all the fighting is in Kherson, So, this is my worry. What's the freaking point? And my gut feeling is telling me not to waste my time. I could probably do some kind of travel vlog where I go to Kiev and I retrace my steps and show you that, how everything is fine. It was always fine. Do some side-by-side comparisons of what it's like now and what it was like when I was there, like a ghost town. I guess Butcher, where they claimed, a lot of butchering went on, would be a good place to check out. Yeah, again, whether or not you can just freely go there and film, I don't know. There's probably going to be a lot of security forces around there investigating people that are filming and stuff. So it's just going to be so tricky. And also, looking at it as a manifestation, spiritual kind of aspect, my mindset is not in the right place at the moment. The fact in my subconscious, I'm already thinking of bad things that are going to happen to me. There's a good chance I could manifest that. So, yeah. I don't know. Interesting times. Anyway, just going to make this a quick video. We live in a twilight world. There are no friends at dusk.